Welcome to a very special episode of the Fight Back podcast. I want to thank Jake Shields to my right for bringing us all together and coordinating this. I really appreciate you, brother, and thank you for everything you're doing. We got a legendary panel today. We got Dan Bilzerian, who's stepped out, put his neck out on the line for all of Gentile dumb. We have Ken O'Keefe right here, 25-year activist, was on the Freedom Flotilla, connected to a lot of people, connected to a lot of individuals who fought this battle. Jonathan Azaziah, arguably the #1 JP researcher on the face of the planet and the galaxy. Incredible author and written a ton of content on this. Obviously, Jake Shields, champion fighter, done a lot of work on this subject, brought a lot of people to awareness on the subject. Myself, Khanverse, writer of 9/11 Missing Links, founder of the JP Project. And to my left, brother Ayo Kimathi, black nationalist, revolutionary. He's written a lot of books on the subject.
What's the name of his book?
Of the problem. That's the title of the book.
Jews are the problem.
And he wrote the second one as well. And so
The Problem Volume 2.
I haven't read that one yet. I read the first one.
When one volume is
He gave it to you, right?
that's right. And one of the important things that he did in his book that I think is important to remember is that he put QR codes to back up the information. So, he says something, then he backs it up with the original source that goes directly to the link. So I think that's important. And Ken and myself were lucky enough to have a forward in his book. So thank you for that. I wanted to start with you, Dan, because I know you don't got a lot of time. You've been already in a couple interviews. I wanted to just kind of get your perspective on how you came to the subject. Obviously, we've known you for, poker and being kind of a playboy and all this other stuff, having, guns, women, all this other stuff. A lot of men looked up to you. What made you get into this subject, put your neck out on the line, and be willing to, take all the heat that's come down on you? What was it that led to that?
Well, I just felt like I had the obligation to do it because I had a platform. And everybody, I felt like at the time wanted to say it, but nobody felt like they could say it. And so, yeah, Rafah was kind of my red line when they marched them all into Rafah and then bombed them. And then at about the same time, I'd read about the USS Liberty. I think it was Memorial Day. And I was like, all right, fuck these motherfuckers. They just bombed Rafah. It was Memorial Day. USS Liberty. I was just like, okay, fuck Israel. And that was my first tweet about it.
What happened after that first tweet? Like, what was you got? What? How many million? You had a couple million followers, right?
Nothing good. Yeah, my business manager tried to extort me. My lawyers fucked me up. It was just, it was a lot of things. Got kicked off the board of my company.
Didn't all your lawyers quit and send you crazy bills?
No, they burned a bunch of my money, fucked up my cases, and then bailed. Well, they didn't actually bail. They sent me another bill. I told them to go fuck themselves. But yeah, they intentionally screwed up my cases.
And so many people, when they have that pressure hit them, they start cucking, they start backing off, apology tours, apologizing with rabbis, etc.
Going to the wall.
What made you say, no, I'm going to double down, I'm going to go in deeper, I'm going to learn more about this? Because I know you're Armenian. Did that have anything to do with it, etc.?
No, I knew then I was right. That kind of proved the point, right? Like when they tell Kanye that they're not in control of all these things and they use all those things to fuck him up after he speaks out about it. It's just like confirmation. So, and also I thought they were going to kill me. So this was like, this is kind of a little better than I expected. I didn't think it was going to be good. Yeah, I just have never been really good about keeping my mouth shut. So.
Yeah, especially when they tell you can't speak. I think that's one of the things that probably is a common thread between all of us here.
I think we're all the same on that. Yeah. But with Dan, too, we were new friends at the time, and he had a lot of pressure from people around him to keep his fucking mouth shut. But he wasn't able to do it. Not long. I knew it, too, because I started speaking up right before you, and I could tell you were struggling. But you came in so fucking hard. I thought you were going to, dabble. I look at open online. I'm like, oh my God, Dan just went off.
I gotta ask you though on that note, because if when you're doing the right thing and stuff, and then you're not stupid, you knew obviously this is gonna be a bit of a problem if I do this, and then they start putting that pressure on you. Did that strengthen you? Because for me, I like it. Come hard for me. Fuck me over hard. That shit just motivates me. It makes me feel more connected to the Palestinians who are getting fucked harder than any of us. Did it have that effect on you? Fuck you. You want to try and punish me for being me?
Yeah, and then also the research. The more research you do, the more you know you're right. For me, Yeah, it wasn't a question. I knew it was the right path, so I knew somebody had to say it, and them coming after. Like I said, I expected them to fucking kill my ass. I literally thought that was what was going to happen. I mean, that's what my brother said was going to happen. That's what most people thought would.
I don't know what you want to share, but there's some crazy legal stuff that happened for a second that was very.
Yeah, I haven't talked to my brother since. It's been like almost 2 years. I haven't spoken. Wow. He lives in Vegas. Yeah.
So he's decided to side with them.
Bro.
Well, no, he's got a family and he's just scared.
I see. Okay.
His brother is very, very educated. Is the funny part. He knows like way more than we did. But then he was like,
Don't mention I gave you this information, but here it is.
This is actually a really big issue in the big picture. Like I knew when I started speaking about the Jews like a decade ago, I knew the subject for at least a couple years before.
Yeah,
and I don't have like millions that I'm going to lose or anything, but I knew the consequence of speaking about this.
So we're scared, yeah.
And I decided let me make sure I'm locked and loaded, man, ready to go before I come with this, because you better be ready, because they're going to come with everything they got.
I know this sounds lame, but like me and Dan too are in some of these social circles around all these like rich and famous people. I thought I was going to be totally ostracized from those circles, but I haven't been, which is really surprised me.
I'm sure there are a lot of them that probably say things like, "Yeah, I agree with you." I can't
crazy
it's a very
to
different time now. Like people forget what it was like 2 years ago.
That's right.
2 years ago was very different. Like now it's like a fucking meme. Now it's like people do it for engagement. So
I thought for sure I was going to be ostracized.
They're making money off
those circles. You did too, right? Like early on.
Well, I mean, I definitely had people kind of
I've lost some friends. Yeah,
I got too many friends, anyways. Fuck, I don't need
We got look at our new friends.
Well, let me ask you guys this, because today is the anniversary of the JFK assassination, and the whole bottom line is that at some point when you do this work, you have to be ready to die. You have to be ready to sacrifice. And we see the Palestinians, when they lose one child, they say Alhamdulillah. They're ready to lose another one. They know that they're on the righteous path. And look, I think everybody here at this table recognizes that there's something beyond this life. And also, when we all do this together, it keeps us a little safer, because now you've got a crowd. And so they take one out, it amplifies the message. And so given that this is, the anniversary of the JFK assassination, we recently saw another major political assassination in the United States, the Charlie Kirk one. And I wouldn't lionize him as a quote-unquote martyr, but it did seem that he was stepping out of bounds on the subject of Israel. Robert Shillman was one of his top donors, took away $2 million right before that. It turns out that some texts were leaked about him saying that Jewish donors fall into all the stereotypes. He's no longer going to pursue the pro-Israel message. And then I think a day before, and these tweets haven't been released, so it's unconfirmed, but it seems like he was saying that looks like they're going to kill me. And Harrison Smith had put that out a few weeks prior. I think you had an interview.
Yeah, listen to me podcast. I thought it was stupid at the time, because he is such a Charlie Kirk was such an Israel show, but he's basically saying he's scared. I'm like, why isn't Alex speaking out? And he's kind of like, well, Charlie thinks they're going to kill him, kind of implying maybe that's why Alex doesn't speak out.
Yeah, and there's some connections already. Like George Zinn, I know a lot of people are trying to say he's an LDS Mormon, etc. But Zinn, we know where that ethnic name is. Also, there was a child porn allegation. We don't know if it's fully verified. So there you have that. Then you have Hunter Kozak, the son of Steve Kovac. Hunter Kovac, son of Steve Kovac, who was on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Just so happened that Jimmy Kimmel was sidelined for like a week or two afterwards because he made some insensitive comment. Hunter Kovac was the one who asked the question right as he was killed, and he was caught on camera putting his head in his hair like this multiple times, like practicing his reaction. And then, of course, he actually gave that reaction when Charlie was shot right as he was killed. Josh Hammer put out some, well, first of all, he was in this private thread with these 9 individuals, including a rabbi named, I think, Waliki. And he pretended like he didn't know that Charlie, 48 hours before he died, had said that he was going to leave the pro-Israel message until Candace kind of blasted him. And the day before the assassination, he retweeted a 2013 tweet from Donald Trump talking about public executions. I think it was in the context of rape or something like that. And he just retweeted it with no comment. And then the next day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he said public execution. And this is a guy that Charlie was really close with, tight with. And he also had an infamous kind of conversation with Dave Smith. And a lot of people saw what the aftermath of that was. So there's already substantial evidence. Also, Netanyahu came out. This is a very strange thing for the leader of a state to come out immediately after the assassination and said, we didn't do it. I mean, that's
I don't
in
kill
our
someone,
circles,
I don't
that's
go and
kind of
say I
a
didn't kill him.
confirmation that you did, right? And did it not once, but twice, because that immediate reaction. And what I told my private group was, it's going to be a litmus test as to whether or not people suggest that Israel was likely. And of course, we don't have evidence, but if we're talking about JFK or 9/11, it's been decades since then. We can't absolutely prove it in a court of law that the state of Israel was involved, but there's enough smoking gun evidence to suggest that it be the case. So it is important to start saying that.
It is relevant, as an oath-taking Marine, it is relevant to say that we have enough evidence in the public realm, never mind that which is hidden, that makes it clear who killed JFK. Literally, in the public realm. Same thing with 9/11. Like, what's in the public realm is enough.
I think.
Never mind the things that are being hidden.
Yeah, 9/11, I think the evidence is so overwhelming, like things like you put out there. But they can't kill us fucking all. That's the thing. They're not going to kill us all. None of us want to die, but none of us are scared to die here. I think, right? Is anyone here fucking not willing to die for the cause? I think we all are.
Fuck you to the end, mate. Fuck off, man. Happy to die in the process. I will not sell my self-worth or self-respect for you. Fuck off.
I think your most vulnerable time is if you are about to turn. Like, Charlie was in the most vulnerable time because they could kill him, make him a martyr, versus 2 days later, if he turns, then they can't touch him.
Yeah.
So he actually could have saved himself by saying it earlier. If you're gonna say it, you have to fucking say it. Don't half step and say, "Oh, I think I'm gonna turn." Like, if you're gonna turn, you better fucking turn. You better do it publicly.
Yeah, Dan gave me that advice early on. If you're gonna do it, you might as well go harder, because if you half step, then it's like you're half in the game. They hate you just as much. Yeah, so I'm like, Dan, you're going so hard, and then you said that to me, and I'm like, fuck, you're right.
This really should be a lesson, because I'm looking at all the young. Look at the college kids and stuff who are protesting about divesting from Israeli money and all this stuff. Look at these young kids. Listen, going halfway makes you more vulnerable. It brings more risk on you. When you do it, arm yourself with the knowledge and go full bore. Full bore.
It's more obvious if they kill us. They can kill Charlie Kirk, and everyone's going to be like, he's a Zionist,
Well, in a fighting analogy, like, I'm a surfer. If you're going to surf big waves, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you make a decision to paddle into a big wave, and I'm telling you, a 12-foot, 16-foot, 18-foot wave, that's scary fucking shit. You do not do this halfway. If you paddle into a wave, you got to go, and you got to be ready to wipe out, or you got to if you do halfway, you're going to wipe out, and you're going to fuck yourself up. Go.
And if you go half in, they're going to hate you just as much. They're going to hate you more, I think. These guys respect me a little bit. They respect me and Dan. They fear Dan a little bit. They won't talk to Dan. And it's important.
Even Dave Smith, I don't know why you
I was trying to arrange a conversation with you, and Dave ghosted me. We've been friends for years, bro, and he ghosted me after that. Hasn't responded since. He really did not want to talk to you.
Tell us why.
I know why, man. This controlled opposition. And you know what? I don't care about your view. Fuck off, man. You've had too much influence over our fucking policies and understanding of the world. You know what? You make up 0.2% of the 0.2% of the human population. Why the fuck am I hearing your view everywhere, left, right, and center? Fuck off. Go over there and sit in your little minority corner while us Goyim talk. I've had enough of your talk. I don't need your talk. I don't need you being the guy in front. I'm the guy who's fucking fought in Palestine. I've lived in Gaza and the West Bank, and I gotta hear you motherfuckers talk about Palestine. Fuck you. Fuck off. I'm really, enough of this. I don't care what you have to say. And this good fucking illusion. Renounce your fucking Judaism. I'm getting half fucking likely to talk to you.
I mean, to be honest, it's an important point to draw that, when you look at the pro-Palestine movement, they've been around for a very long time. They've had funding. They've had a lot of information out there. But yet, we just saw the worst genocide that we've all seen in our entire lives. And it's publicized. You see babies being killed. And not only that, but you see people, rabbis included, justifying it, using verses from the Talmud and the Old Testament, saying that this is the correct way. It's moral to kill these children. And for people in Telegram threads with hundreds of thousands of Israelis in there to talk about 3- and 4-year-old children, calling 4-year-old girls sluts, and we'll kill her the next time.
Shit. Like, I've seen one that really hurt me. This girl with her arms blown off, and they're like, haha, she can't hug her terrorist dad now. And it had thousands of likes. That literally made me sick as a father. It's just just sick people.
And that's normal for them. That is literally normal for them.
Yeah. I wanted to pass it over to Jonathan because it is a JFK assassination, and Jonathan is, one of the best researchers on this subject on Earth, and I wanted to pass it to him to give us some of the names of tribe members who were involved with the JFK assassination as to why we say that we attribute that to Israel and its Zionim apparatus.
Yeah, absolutely, Achi. And before we let's just move the mic up here, and before we do, I just wanted everyone to take a quick look. This book here, written by easily, not arguably, easily, the greatest American nationalist, anti-Zionist, and anti-parasitic writer, Michael Collins Piper, who was a friend and brother, teacher, and mentor to me, as everyone can read here. He wrote this book when the JFK assassination event had become an industry. And most of the people that you found within it were Jews or people allied with Jews. And they talked about everything under the sun that you could think of. They talked about the mafia. They talked about the CIA. They peddled theories about Cuba. They peddled theories about Russia. Anything you could think of out there, off the wall, is sold. Why? Because people are curious. People want to know what happened. Because the magic bullet theory is as nonsensical as 19 Arabs with box cutters knocking down a bunch of buildings on September 11, 2001. And Mike Piper, may Allah rest his soul, he was the first person to tackle the subject of Israel, Zionism, and Jewry on the matter. And this, at the top here, America's #1 banned book, it's not a tagline, it's not there for monetary purposes, it's for real. There were only 30,000 copies that were in circulation, and it sold out. American Free Press reprinted it, and the Yehud went after them for years to make sure that the printings wouldn't continue. So I know that Brother Khanverse has a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
so
I've never heard of this guy. Real quick, the magic bullet. Just in case for the audience that don't know, why don't you explain that real quick? It's so insane.
The magic bullet theory stipulates...
Made up by a Jew.
Which one?
Right. Well, there's a bunch of them, but the standard idea is that this bullet had magical powers and did all but gymnastics inside JFK and multiple people. One shot gambler, one hitter quitter, one bullet. But
that's the official narrative. That's like
that
in the report. This bullet like veered all the different. I don't know how many entry outlets, maybe like 12 or something. It's like boom, boom, turning corners, like literally a magic bullet. And that's the official fucking story.
And on that note, the fact that it was literally codified into the American legal code, it was led by Arlen Specter, one of the most powerful senators in the history of the United States. And he headed up the Warren Commission, and he made sure
Shocking.
that, yeah, exactly, all of these theories were dispersed. But everyone should always do their own research. Don't take anything that's said at this table.
Look up everything we're talking about here. 'Cause I think it's
So
very
on that note, the most important thing to know about what happened to JFK is that he was at war. That's not our word. You read Israeli media, the Jerusalem Post, Haaretz, multiple books by multiple occupier authors. They said that JFK and David Ben-Gurion were at war with one another. And David Ben-Gurion, may Allah curse him, the founder of the Tuma, or the usurping Zionist entity, if you guys aren't up on the lingo, David Ben-Gurion stepped down in June of 1963 because of this quiet diplomatic war that was being waged with JFK.
Well, JFK wrote him a letter.
That's right.
Saying that they're going to have to allow the nuclear inspection, and then immediately he resigned.
Exactly. And on top of that, JFK actually sent nuclear inspectors to the Tuma, to the illegal criminal facility in what we call Al-Naqab, or what the Jews call the Negev, Dimona. He sent inspectors to the Negev, to the Dimona facility in occupied Al-Naqab, and the Jews, in true Hollywoodist fashion, they had a room like this and had these inspectors take a look at it, when in reality, all the fucked up, criminal, depraved, and most importantly, weaponized shit was going on beneath the surface.
And that pissed Kennedy off, right? Because he knew it was fake.
Extremely. It infuriated him.
And then his brother RFK, we won't get into that right now, but that's a whole separate
that's
story.
another part of the story. So David Ben-Gurion is very important. Next to David Ben-Gurion, of course, is Issa Harel, who was the founder of the Mossad. And
Shin Bet.
Yeah. Next to Issa Harel was Mordecai Hod. Most people don't know that name. Mordecai Hod was the architect of the USS Liberty massacre.
Oh shit!
And he was the chieftain of the Occupation Air Force, and he would go on to be the point man for Shimon Peres, Ehud Barak, and Benjamin Netanyahu for their operations on 9/11. Now, coming back here into America and Canada, one of the theories that was floated by so many different authors was the mob, right?
Yes.
All these mafiosos were involved. We had Guinea mafia, we had Spanish mafia, we had Irish mafia, any mafia you could think of. Except when in reality they were all reporting back to the Yehud.
Meyer Lansky.
But even more so than that was Sidney Korshak. I learned about Sidney Korshak through Brother Michael Collins Piper. And there's an incredible book that everyone should read called Super Mob. It doesn't explicitly go into all the Judaic and Jewish supremacist connections, but they mention enough Yehud to fill up a few dozen synagogues. And Sidney Korshak was this parasitic demonic lawyer out of Chicago that was connected to the likes of Giancana and a number of other officials. And Sidney Korshak was at the forefront of funneling weapons and arms to those who allegedly shot Kennedy for real. And then the other two names I'd like to mention, I'll pass it back to you, Achi. There was a corporation, and this is where it's very important that if you have read all of these books about JFK that floated and touted all these theories, the thing is, and this is something very true about the Jews in general, there's a concept within Judaism that we talk about often called pilpul. And it's the idea of arguing for the sake of arguing, for the sake of arguing, for the sake of argument. So you're arguing and arguing and arguing, going around the mulberry bush 6 million times over. And at that point, you're so dizzy, you're so exhausted, you forgot what the fuck we were talking about in the first place.
That's right.
So that's what all these books were for. But the craziest thing is that there actually were little nuggets, little gemstones in all of these books. And there were mafia connections. There were international connections. There were even CIA connections, right? But the point man for the JFK assassination was a man by the name of James Jesus Angleton. You find him at the heart of so much skullduggery when it comes to the usurping Israeli entity. And James Jesus Angleton was a diehard Christian Zionist, bought and paid for by the Jews, even before there even was a tumor in occupied Palestine. But all of these various connections, they consolidate, they overlap, they correlate with a shadowy corporation called Permindex. Everybody look this up. Permindex, the mafia, the CIA, numerous other criminal figures, and most importantly, world Jewry and the usurping Jewish entity, they all coalesced here. And Permindex was run by two Mossad figures by the name of Louis Bloomfield, Major Louis Bloomfield, and Tibor Rosenbaum, who was a Yehudi banker at the forefront of way, way, way too much evil to talk about on this program. But if you follow Permindex and you follow all of the branches through Tibor Rosenbaum and Louis Bloomfield, you'll uncover the JFK assassination to the letter. And I guess I would conclude by saying that, tying it back to what you were noting about Charlie Kirk, who up until his dying day, I know this is going to offend a lot of people, but up until his dying day, he was a Christian Zionist. Even if he was making this turn, right, and being vulnerable, as Brother Dan had noted. And it's true, he was. but it didn't seem like he had done so for any moral reasons.
It was for money and popularity.
Exactly.
He said all of his he was worried about all the questions. He was being attacked and he was losing money.
That's
so
right.
I'm not trying to bash a dead guy, but
No, of
he
course
never
not.
said like, oh, they're killing too many children. They manipulate our country. He's like, I'm losing money.
KV and I have talked about how even from a purely Christian perspective, you don't care about us. You don't have some greater allegiance to humanity. You know, that's between you and whatever you believe in. But even from the Christian perspective, what they're doing in the occupied West Bank, spitting on Christians, taking ancient Armenian land, and bombing repeatedly a handful of churches in Gaza that are over 1,000 years old. That doesn't
Not a
bother
handful.
you?
I think they bombed every one.
All of them. Yeah.
Every hospital too.
Every hospital,
disgusting.
including those that were
Every
Christian.
single fucking hospital they
Destroyed.
bombed.
Every
And
university.
that is a key point. Like everybody wants to make it out
You're
like
bouncing,
it's against
Dan.
Islam, but
Your Dan's gonna bounce. So why don't
All right, guys.
Thanks so
Appreciate
much
it,
for
man.
coming in.
God
He's been here
bless.
3.5 hours. So yeah, he's a long interview. But thanks so much for dropping in, Dan. I'll hit you up.
God bless you, my brother.
Next
Much
week.
respect, my brother.
All right, see you, brother.
I really that's a point. Thank you. God bless you for everything you're saying there. But there's a lot of Christians in Palestine, a lot, and Christians actually who took refuge in one of the oldest Christian churches in the world in Gaza. Were all slaughtered, all buried under the rubble of what was it?
They die such a terrible death too. That's one thing that's.
And who do the Jews hate more than anybody else? Even more than my Muslim brothers and sisters. They hate us Christians.
Well,
and what individual do they hate more than anybody else? Well, his name is Jesus.
Peace be upon him.
Alayhi
So-
salatu wassalam.
Why is that? And they don't like us white Christians either. They don't like my black brothers too. And
want us
Io
divided.
hasn't had a
we
chance to
gotta get
speak.
Io
We got to
chance
have
to-
Io in here,
This
but
is actually a perfect segue.
but
And
they still hate my white ass more than Io even, but they don't like him either.
I think they hate us all equally. To be honest.
it's just
I think they hate us all
yeah.
equally. They just want us
And-
divided. So it's easy to be like, oh, they hate me the most. But then look who was under slavery and fucking. I mean, they want us under slavery. Then look
And
what
who
they're do-
brought
look what they're doing
those
to the
slaves
Palestinians.
over here?
Well, that's kind of my point, you know.
And what's so interesting is that we're actually motivated by love of righteousness, love of family, love of people, of nation, of ourselves, of goodness, of God. And they are the ones who are hating, but then they project that onto us. And just to close the loop on the JFK, do you want to give them a quick synopsis on the Zapruder film and Abraham Zapruder before we jump
I think
to
that's actually an important quick addition.
Yeah,
that's
for sure. And I'll touch on that in just a second. But just to close the loop before Brother Ken had jumped in, I think it's very important to note that JFK, while he was motivated by a genuine opposition to nuclear weapons, it wasn't as if JFK was some sort of moral paragon either. And in fact, he wasn't exactly unfriendly with the Yahud prior to him taking office. And this is more of a philosophical idea, but it's important nevertheless that according to the Yahud in the Jerusalem Talmud, everyone can look it up. Use Safaria. Don't follow any of the fake shit. 411.7 is the passage. The Jerusalem Talmud, Kiddushin 411.7, it states unequivocally, the best of the Gentiles shall be killed.
Damn.
Now, according to them, the best that a Gentile could be, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Pushtun, whether you're Arab, no matter what, the best of the Gentiles shall be killed, and the best of us, according to them, is meant to be a slave. So even if you're a slave, even if you have abandoned all of your ethnic, all of your cultural, all of your religious traditions, and you adopt their Noahide laws as your own, that's how you become the best Gentile, according to them. And even at that point, when you've committed to absolute servitude to world Jewry, they still think that you should be killed.
Yeah, I don't want to be a slave to a Jew.
And then be killed for
And then be
killed,
killed. Nor the hell do I. So, considering that, everybody out there who's still operating in what we call leftistani circles or conservative circles, and you think that by serving them,
Matt Walsh.
Some of these guys, there's so many guys. They still look down on them, like the Trumps, the Lindsey Grahams. They still don't look at them as equal. Like Epstein Island, you hear the girls talk that they would just get abused, being like, "You're not, you're worthless, you're less than us," as they're raping these girls. I hate the white traitors more than anything. I absolutely despise people of my own race that have betrayed my race for the Jews. Like people say you don't go after them. I'm like, no, I hate them more than I hate Jews. At least you can understand if it's their bloodline or something.
Can we parlay that into Ayo? Because literally, like from the white perspective of what they're doing to us, how about the black perspective here?
Well, yeah, and also it's very important because in the protocols it says, and I'm paraphrasing, I can't remember what protocol it is. Do you have the reference off the top? Maybe not. But that at a point, if Gentiles unite in a universal brotherhood around the concept of a singular creator, that is probably going to be the greatest foe of the tribe, of the Kahila. And the reason being is that they have us all divided, grinding each other into dust, fighting all these battles, Goy versus Goy, the white fratricide in World War II. You see what happened in the crack epidemic and the black on black crime. You see the white on white crime. And it just keeps happening and happening and happening. Then they go with Muslims and Christians.
They flooded my people with fucking opiates, man. It's been devastating to the white people. Like, I've lost friends.
And you know which family that was, right?
You were in Oakland. You were in Oakland or San Francisco area. You're old enough. The Black Panthers came about.
Well, that's before.
You're a little bit.
My dad actually. My dad knew a bunch of
but
them.
it was
He was a white boy. My dad
it was in the aftermath of that, though, right?
He knew some of those people and stuff.
Yes.
He said he spoke highly of them, but then he said they got infiltrated from within by like feds and shit. They started feeding them cracks, getting them fighting amongst, paying informants, getting them fighting amongst each other.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for watching Fight Back Podcast. If you like the show, like, subscribe, or share the video. There's also donation links in the descriptions.
Yeah, you met the people who went through that shit. You're not old enough to have been there in the day, but yeah.
You know, my dad was in Oakland during that same exact time period.
Yeah.
So Brother Ayo Kimathi has a great concept called Cooperative Nationalism, where despite all of our, many differences, racial, religious, etc., there is a way we can come together to handle this one subject and not counter-signal one another, not fight one another, at least during this time where we are all under threat of global extermination. And I'd like for Ayo to discuss cooperative nationalism, please.
Wow. I'm sitting up here. If anybody, I know y'all are probably watching, my face always tells a story. I literally heard something in the beginning. I've been trying to duck it the whole time. And this guy, every other word he says, and now you're saying it, and now you're saying it. Y'all forcing me to say something that I said I don't, because I've always do this. I always come and do something that's over the top. So I try to duck it, and then I answer like, no, you're going to say it. And y'all making me say it. So
Forcing you.
I'm blaming it on them, okay? Okay, first thing I want to say, I made a promise. I'm going to keep my promise. Dave Gahari said, you got to tell them about In Black and White. We did all of that work. It's for free. It's an 8-episode for free. Go online, everybody listening, inblackandwhite.net. Again, inblackandwhite.net. Go to the episodes, watch 1 through 8. It lays it out. If you have never heard anything about it, you don't know why are they talking about this. When you watch it, there's not one person out there that hasn't been affected of what you're going to see in those 8 episodes. They're short, they right to the point, and they deal with most of the stuff that people are dealing with. So I got that out. I said it, Dave, all right? You can go to bannedbyamazon.com. Bannedbyamazon.com if you want to get a hard copy of it to have it as a DVD in your house or electronic copy. Bannedbyamazon.com, or you can watch it for free at inblackandwhite.net. Okay, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to speak about cooperative nationalism. I pass the mic. Okay. So, and I agree. I heard what the people said. When you do this, and I think all of us have gone through this process, you have to be prepared and willing to die if you're going to actually take this seriously and attack this topic. That's true. I'm going to just talk straight because I'm trying to make it political, but it's not who I am. Okay, look, I'm going to be honest. I got to that point a long time ago. I'm not afraid of death, but I'm a Dessalinian, and my ancestors in Haiti, they taught me something. I learned it. When you're fighting slavery, you have to be willing to die because you may die in order to fight to be free. That's true. And usually freedom or death is sufficient. You fight, and if you die, you're okay. When you're facing extermination, it's different. It's different. That's what history tells me. And I didn't do it. Listen, every one of them said, they're going to exterminate us. They're going to serve it. They said they're going to exterminate it. They're going to exterminate it. I don't want to get exterminated. That's what they say. So I didn't make it up. I'm blaming it on these 4 guys. What did our Haitian ancestors teach us? When extermination is put on the table, the terms change. It's no longer what I'm willing to do, because death is part of life. You've moved past that. You're now in a new phase. What our Haitian ancestors said was, okay, you put extermination on the table. We're in a different phase now. Atrocity for atrocity. What you are trying and saying you're going to do to us, which is extermination, you will either leave the island. We're not even debating the slavery anymore. That's not a discussion. You will leave or you will die. We're going to win, so we're going to get our freedom. That's not what we're fighting for, though. It's past that. We're already free. The fact that we've decided we're going to resist tyranny, we're already free. Whatever, we're going to die anyway. That's the only promise you get when you're born.
We're all going to die.
When you're born, the only promise you have, we haven't found anybody. And this new mRNA stuff is kind of making it kind of weird, but everybody we've ever known that has lived,
They've all died.
they've all died. People we talk about that we
All
love,
the
but
great men in history have still died.
that's right, they've still died. But we remember the ones that died with a purpose and fought. So
Well, those are the
I want to
people
finish.
as well.
I want to finish. Wait, let me finish this. I ain't finished.
It's a quick point.
Ain't no quick point on this one. This is hard. I want to get this off. This is real. Being willing to die, that's one thing. But the real challenge with extermination, are you going to keep your promise? You're not playing for the war. You're not going to be a slave. You already decided that. You might die. But if you don't, what does the tyrant who has promised death to you, what is their consequence? You're not no longer fighting. You're already free. So you're not fighting for freedom anymore. They saying they're going to exterminate what you mean, your posterity, your grandchildren, your great, that's going to end. They're saying nothing about you is ever going to exist anymore. So we passed that. So no, we're saying no. Ours is, and the penalty is not, oh, you didn't win. That's not a penalty. No, you were going to do that to me. So that same result and consequence, that's now your consequence.
Yeah, they need to have a little fear.
It ain't fair. One of us is leaving. So you put it on the table. I didn't put it on the table. But the question is, am I going to accept the terms? For me, I'm just saying this. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I've accepted the terms. In fact, I kind of like the terms because it makes it easy. I don't have to figure out nothing. Who's the good one? Who's the bad? What are you talking about? Look, they put the terms on the table. So those are the terms I live by. So I'm no longer questioning, the fear of death, so what? It's like, am I going to allow them for the things that they've already done? Do they get away with that? For the things they're doing to people right now, for the people they're killing, for all of the millions of chickens. How do you kill millions of chickens and millions of cows in places where people make food so they can eat and survive?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Where's the penalty? All I'm looking at, honestly, for me, is I say other stuff because we got to do it, but honestly, the only thing that's driving me is there has to be a penalty for what they're doing to the people of the planet.
And they've done a lot.
I really want to segue on something there that I did not expect this conversation to go to, but I was full on meat eater. I was raised meat and potatoes, Irish, right? Like, I remember when I met a vegetarian like 30 years ago, and I was literally like, what's that faggot hippie shit? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he told me about the slaughterhouse and the factory farm, and he told me in such an articulate way. I was like, okay, wait, he's a vegetarian, the faggot hippie. And he's not eating meat. And the reason why he's not eating meat is because if he pays for that stuff, he is literally paying for animals to be tortured
And the way they treat them.
and slaughtered and mutilated and all this kind of stuff. I never thought about it. I had never thought about that. But in my early 20s, this man
I'm also
told
a
me this.
vegetarian,
And I was like, holy shit. So basically, I'm choosing to pay for the torture, mutilation, and just trauma in mass, but I don't have to. But I'm choosing it. Why? Because I like the taste.
Well, the biggest animal rights
I don't
activist
respect that,
ever.
man. I don't. So I stopped like that. I stopped. Went from full-on meat eaters. So you led me into a direction that I wasn't really like
Who else
thinking
was
we
a
were going to go.
vegetarian? Why don't you name another famous vegetarian?
A man named Adolf. You ever hear of this guy, Adolf? I don't know. I think his last name was
Hitler?
I think. Yeah.
vegetarian, massive. They don't teach that. Animal rights activists passed all these laws.
No. And one other thing, like you brought it up and I opened the table, man, this is one of the reasons why I love him so much, because I actually, as I started doing my own research and finding out these things, I was like, you ever hear that thing, me too? Oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah, me too. Oh, me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Adolf Hitler and myself have 70 things in common that I have, like, just by my research. And one of them is vegetarian. And how many fucking German fucking infantrymen vegetarians do you know of?
Not very many.
No. And I know why he was. I know why. Because he was confronted at some point with this understanding of, like, what are we doing here? Are we involved in a crime? Is this just eating a meal to sustain, or are we contributing to a crime? And this is one of the great blessings, and I'll shut up after this. Like, I put myself in the position of the cow or the pig or the chicken or whatever that's being affected by my decision. I would be really grateful to the man who said, you know what, no, I'm not going to contribute to that.
I'd like to add, though, yeah, it's not an easy thing, so I don't judge people that do, but I like to just add when people are like, oh, it's a bitch thing. Adolf did it.
The evil madman. The evil madman. Yeah.
Exactly. As many of you guys know, I run a free speech podcast. That comes as a price. It's being demonetized everywhere. So one way to support the podcast is to buy your books from AntelopeHillPublishing.com. Today's selection is The Trans Industrial Complex. This book covers the money-making machine of the trans industries and shows it's not to help people, but to make money and get rich. So again, if you want to support the podcast, go to AntelopeHillPublishing.com and be sure to use promo code FIGHTBACK. That'll save you money and support me. Thank you. Hey guys, I'm demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support me and the podcast, go to FightbackPodcast.com and you can buy some cool merch like the shirt I'm wearing now.
Quick note, because I know that Brother KV wants to touch on this before we bounce today, but when Brother Ayo noted about chickens, the Jews have this, Brother Jake already knows, this sick, twisted ritual known as kaparot. All right? They swing the chicken around their head.
Live. Until it's dead.
And
animal sacrifice. Like
their sins go into the chicken, but the craziest part is that this takes place a day before what's supposed to be the highest or holiest day in Judaism, which is Yom Kippur. So the Jews, they ask God, or in our not so humble, factually backed opinion, Shaitan, they ask for forgiveness. But in this ritual, they've already put all their sins into the chicken. So now on Yom Kippur, they don't even have to ask God for forgiveness. All the sins are gone.
Just gotta kill the chicken.
Just kill the chicken. But the icing on the cake, or the jelly on top of the gefilte fish, is that the chicken is not merely a sacrifice per se. It's a sacrifice to Satan. And it reinforces the fact that Judaism is Satanism, and that the Jews are the people of Satan.
The synagogue of Satan.
Creatures. That doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
No God's going to ask you to kill something for him.
And one of the things that this leads us to is the whole idea of using euphemisms, because they've done so much censorship. And, you know, this is the tribe of censorship. If you look at the history of censorship across the Western world, they are at the root of it. And, you know, you can count countless of them. And this is why, you know, last year at the conference, I used the term chicken swinging baby killers. We know who we're talking about.
That's what they are.
You know what I mean? And so, you know, we can already address this. I do want to get back to Judaism and Satanism and the roots of it, but I do want to get to Ayo and to have him talk about cooperative nationalism and what that means in the context of uniting against this devious enemy.
I want to apologize. I put him in a tough situation yesterday. Almost got in a fight.
Let me tell you. No, I'm gonna tell the story. Now, see, now look. They know that this is. I want to tell it my way because I'm gonna reverse all the stuff about black people. Y'all say we the thugs. I'm gonna change the whole story now. We not the thugs. I'm out there hanging out with these white. I'm not gonna call them thugs, but listen,
just white thugs.
Look, we leaving the gym. Now look, I'm not gonna tell you I was all my fault because the white dude was trying to do something for me, but nah, forget it, it's not my fault. It was the white dude's fault. His man, right? Not paying attention in the gym. It was his fault. A brother ran into him. They running it. He ignoring. He not even paying attention. So the brother just kind of tapped him a little bit. Hey man, you know you got to. He started barking on him. Now his man don't look tough. All right. So I'm thinking, well, he just got roughed a little bit. But I know bad tempers because I got one.
Oh,
his
Ron's
man
got
walking.
anger issues.
His man walking, talking to himself. This mother. And I seen it and feel like he don't think I'm looking. I'm acting like I'm not watching, right? I'm not going to see if he going to say the N-word, right? Because I'm like, dude, you know. So he said, so he didn't say it. No, he didn't say it. But I can see he's about to say it. I said, okay, this white dude, he looks soft. This dude got a terrible temper. So we get outside. I'm like, you know, all right, good. We got away with it because the brother, you know, finished, right? So we walk down and Ron's talking. I should go. And then he go to him. Now he supposed to be the one with the.
He's asking me what I should.
He supposed to be level headed. He's like, yo, man. This dude pushed me, man. He said, yeah, you should go smack his ass. Go ahead. So I'm like, yo, what are these thugs, right? I'm like, yo, I'm from
white
DC.
thugs.
I'm from DC. I'm like, hold up, Joe. So I'm not thinking it's gonna happen. Then I'm thinking we gonna walk. It's funny to me because I see this dude. Look, he act nice, right? Y'all think this dude Jake Shields nice? Listen, man.
I am nice. People are nice to me.
This dude didn't even see what happened. You should smack him. Where is he at? So look, they start walking by.
I look out for my people.
I'm
bro.
like, yo, we not the thugs. I'm like, hold up, yo. I didn't film it though, right? So they walk back to the joint, right? So these two white guy thugs, right, walking up to the thing, then like a brother would do. Why this brother gonna put me in this terrible situation? They didn't even get to walk back in. The brother come running out the joint looking for them. I'm like, dude, my mind, I'm like, dude, you know who this dude is? You supposed to get your ass whooped, dude. This dude, 5 times. So I'm thinking, but then it hit me. I was like, wait a minute, because the rules in DC now, he put me in
You're
trouble.
like torn, yeah.
Look, here are the rules in DC. Whoever you with, that's your squad. So we fighting whoever you with.
But then also protect the brother.
But the other one is if it's a black and white, it don't matter who did what or what, you black. So I'm like, yo, this is messed up. So I had to run up to the joint and Jay, I should have seen it. I said, I know I've been in DC all my life.
He did a great job of stopping it.
No, listen. Jake went up.
About to pop off.
Listen. It wasn't about to pop off. When the dude walked out, Jake had already decided he was gonna smack the dude. His man wanted to hit him, but he wasn't gonna get to because I seen this. Look, it's a certain stance, and he see the hat. He put the hat back like this, right?
You got instincts.
And he stepped on the back. I said, he about to knock this man out. And I said,
on
the front foot.
Yeah, he was on. Yeah, he was on the front.
I don't say shit. When I'm ready to go.
Nothing. Look, DC, this the dude. When the dude that don't say nothing, that's when you about to get it.
See, you're smart. Most people don't get that. You know what's up.
I seen it right. So I said, wait a minute. I ran over that.
I'm glad you stopped it, by the way.
I jumped in it and stopped the whole thing. And I said, you know what? I had to take, look, then I had to, y'all don't know this part. I had to politic. Because the brother's still a brother. I get in there, and now he looking at me. Why you out there copping for them? I said, I ain't look. They wasn't looking.
Why you with these white boys?
Yeah, right. So, nah, man, I ain't copping for nothing. Let me tell you, man. I got this. I'm gonna talk to them. I'm telling him that, right? Then they come barging in the jail right into the street. I'm like, no, I got this. I got him. So I'm telling them I got the brother, right? Then I turn to the brother. I say, no, I'm gonna deal with it. I'm a hard to deal with.
I know you did a good job stopping it, bro. I was about to pop the guy.
The last part of the story. This is the worst part. The worst part? This is the worst part. Look, all that's over. So
This is the setup, man. That's the foreplay.
That's the
Here we
foreplay.
go.
Look, you think the joint over, right? It's supposed to be over. So they walk back in the thing. The brother in there. We outside about to get in the car. Jake say, nah, let's go smack him. No, Jake, no. I say, no, we gotta go because I made up something. He's like, yeah, you're right. They get in the car. It's damn thugs, man.
You did a good job. See, from my perspective, okay, Ron's crazy. He's got anger issues. But for me, like, that's my gym. And if some young fighter's disrespecting my guest, that's like an insult to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Ron was my guest or not. That's why I was upset. Like, imagine if you brought me to like the hood or whatever and someone disrespect me. That's disrespecting you, correct?
No, the whole thing, honestly, it was our fault. Because it my fault, really, because he was doing it for me, but I ain't gonna take no responsibility.
Like, can I just say?
I can't let someone.
I'm not gonna take no responsibility for it. I'm not gonna take. I'm gonna take accountability for this. No, I got 2 white guys I call thugs.
I can't allow someone to disrespect me in my gym, though. You understand that, right?
Look, let me just say.
I get it, but let me just say a word here.
Anybody listening? Hold on. Anybody watching? Listen, I want y'all to tell y'all that I'm keeping it real. I'm not talking about what I seen on no fight because I never seen them act the whole fight. I'm telling you, in real life, this dude right here will knock your ass out. Yeah. It's in him all the way. He really that dude.
But wait,
let me. I think most people didn't know is you grabbed that guy real quick. You went in and grabbed the guy and you pulled him right through that door because you saw.
I'm trying to build on this.
I thought I was gonna get hit. Here's the worst part. Look, I thought I was gonna get hit because this is the worst part. I'm with this dude, right? He didn't give a shit about none of that. He didn't even see me no more. And I know what that's like. I'm like, he don't care.
I just felt disrespected in my own
He
home.
wouldn't even have known if I jumped in the fight with other
Can I
dudes.
fucking interject
Let me
here,
finish
fucking
my story.
Ayo?
Wait,
Finish. When are you gonna finish, man? I
ain't
want to
finished.
fucking
I'm
say
hot.
something.
I don't get unhot. I don't think I get unhot, but I'm hot, man. I'm hot. Look, no, I don't know. That's what I do. So look, this how bad it was. I saw that too. I said, damn, I like this. Because see, I like these type of dudes. Even if the fight went, he not monitoring what I do either way. He don't care. All he know is I'm going to smack this shit. I'm sorry. I'm going to smack this Bama because he disrespected my dude. Those are real men. That's how real men
Well, that's
act.
disrespecting me to disrespect my guys. A disrespect on me because that's like I run those places, so that's an insult on me.
I did not get the chance to capitalize on that crescendo. It's not the same, by the way. Nonetheless, I was sitting there watching this, the whole thing.
Wait a minute.
Play out.
What?
I was literally.
It wasn't for his
I'm
very
watching-
quick reaction.
I'm
stuff
watching
that you
the
grabbed
white
that
man-
guy quick and ran him in the room.
I'm
You knew, bro.
watching the white man get disrespected in his gym, Jake, who I know can beat all of our asses right now.
And I beat
I'm
up white
looking,
guys there too.
I'm looking at my
I beat
black
another
brother
black guy
over
camera,
here,
now looks like a
who's
racist.
having
I
to
beat up
deal.
white dudes in the gym too.
My black brother is trying to deal with. Oh, for fuck's sake! Am I meet a black man who sat by and watched the white man beat the black man and
I
fucking do
couldn't
nothing?
imagine that.
And then I'm
Imagine
watching.
You know what? A funny story is this guy Dewey Cooper, another black nationalist. I beat up a guy Mike Jackson who's like partially black in front of Dewey Cooper. He made a video calling out Dewey Cooper for not helping him because he's black. Dewey
Exactly.
Cooper's like, motherfucker, you put me in the middle of this,
Exactly.
but you're my boy.
If you think that was bad, you probably don't. Y'all cannot imagine.
Probably worse for your
No,
front,
no,
yeah.
no, no. If my people heard that there was a fight between a black dude and a white person,
And you didn't help the black guy.
and I didn't, I was supposed
You
to be
even, you even helped the white guy.
I'm supposed to start the fight. And I
Okay.
didn't help the black. No, I haven't. No, it's a reputation. No,
that's a
listen.
hard code.
No, listen.
Can I-
I'm supposed to start the joint. If I didn't start it,
You should have punched me.
I should have punched you. But
But we're
But
homies.
Ayo,
I would
can
back you up,
Can I
Ayo.
just tell you how entertaining it was to sit here and watch this?
Ken just sitting back, grabbing a drink. Like, honestly,
This is
if you didn't
fucking
react
great.
real quick, I
I'm
was about
looking
to go
forward
on.
to seeing how this shit plays out, man. Who the fuck is gonna
These
do
young
what?
fighters occasionally test me in my home, and I got to remind them who the
you
lion
gotta-
is. You know,
no,
it's
you
like
gotta
if you're a
regulate.
lion, they think they can step up, and sometimes you got to put them in place.
I was like Piers Morgan. I don't have a dog in this fight, but funny enough,
I'm gonna do the cooperative
supposed to play the
nationalism. I
white
know.
side.
I'm sorry, man. I know. I think I took your
Oh yeah,
thing
back
all
to
off
work.
course.
Sorry, I was apologizing to you for.
In a way, that was cooperative nationalism. That it really says.
I still owe that Dewey. I still owe Dewey Cooper an apology for beating up that brother in front of him.
Look, the word thug is white.
That's the ball. of
Us
the
white
whole
thugs.
show. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm here with the irritated genie hanging out with the white thugs. That's what this is. But look,
I got some white thug friends. I ain't gonna lie.
yo, man. Okay, so I'm gonna do it, but it's almost lost now. But really, this is all seriousness. You see, as a matter of fact, I just want to say this because it kind of goes into this. This is what real men do. We talk about real stuff, and men got a tempers, and we also we manage that, and we got here now, and nobody got hurt. But
Solve the problem.
We solved the problem, and we talking about it, and we enjoying it. We real people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is look. Think about it. You got Irishmen. You got white American.
Basically, yeah, white,
You got
Irish.
Pashtun, which
He's
is
got cow blood
Afghanistan.
too, but, yeah.
Afghanistan. You got
Yeah, Rocky.
Iraqi, Arab. You got
We got the
African.
black
You got a
man.
black man, right?
There we go.
And then y'all notice they kept talking about chicken. We talking about all the animals they killed, but all they kept saying was chicken. I said, okay, I'm not gonna be on here defending no chickens, though, because I see where this gonna go. But here's the thing: we have all these different men, right, representing our people. Yet we're sitting here talking about one thing that we agree on. You know what? There's a million things we don't agree on, but are we focusing on those?
Nope. Because
Yeah.
the problem is so big,
Brilliant
we can
point.
worry about our problems later. That's why I try to tell people, we can worry about the small things later. There's a few things that are so big I won't cave on, but there's small things that I don't care that much about. We can sort that out later.
You know
Yeah.
why it was so difficult? And I'm going to just say this about this term, and then I'm done. I don't like to hog the mic. But the thing is this. When I looked at this some years ago, I said, we got a problem. And I know because I had to do introspection. I would be the worst person if somebody came to me back then saying, you got to work with somebody that ain't black. I just looked at the math. I did the math. I said, just to win this war with the way these are doing it, you got to be more mature than that. But I said, we don't have a concept or a word that works. And without that, it's like, how do you make it happen? So I said, what does each one want? Each one of us want our own identity. So I said nationalism, which means if you're a Christian, if you're a vegan, a vegetarian, I'm going to eat me some fish. I'm going to eat me, you know what I'm saying? If that's
you're
what
not going to get mad at us for how we eat. Exactly.
Right, so the thing is, if you white, if you black, if you Asian, no matter what you are, we all agree that we have the right to exist in our own space and time. So then that means what? Who's trying to take away our survival? It's the Jews. So if that's the case, then we got to do what? We got to cooperate, because we don't cooperate. See, I didn't use socialism or anything, because then now I got to get you to, I don't got you to believe in nothing to cooperate. Look, there's somebody over there that's about to molest a child. You're a white man. Do we give
what race they're? I'm going to go fuck that person up.
That's what I'm saying. He really do it. I tell you, I just say that. And this is the thing.
And let it be said, there are millions of children in dungeons being raped right now, and we are abject failures as men that this is a reality. Seriously. Like, regardless of how fucking noble our intentions may be, we are failures collectively. Millions and millions of children being raped, and your controlled media ain't telling you, doesn't change the fact we are failures, that we've allowed our children to be fucking raped, literally with Epstein file fucking president covering for this shit. Fuck off. We should be fucking marching on Washington and taking these motherfuckers out. Wait, hold on. I'm an oath-taking constitutional American Marine, so like, we have lawful measures that could deal with this. But we're allowing children to be raped. And is it not indisputable that we're failures as men?
In Vegas, we let a child rapist out.
Yeah, he came in and did it. But to what he's saying, I agree with him 100% in terms of the fact, as men, anywhere that women and children are not safe, that's a failure of men. But guess what? If we cooperate, each group of men, to say we're going to make this stop.
100%.
And then what the nationalism means, whatever you, look, I'm not going to take your identity. You don't have to believe my God.
No, exactly.
You don't have to believe in my, but do you believe we should protect children?
100%.
Let's cooperate. Let's work together. Let's make it happen. Cooperative nationalism. Let's do it. Let's say it, and let's spread it.
It all worked out, man. There we go. That is literally it right there. That is literally it. Literally. And part of the reason why me and this brother respect each other, and it's the same reason why I love you, and also I know Khanverse and I know this brother Jonathan, warriors, man. Are you going to fucking sit there and play half measures when you know the truth? No. You can't. Would you respect yourself? If you're a real man, then you need to be able to do things that are consistent with what you say are your values. And that's a big responsibility. That takes an actual man to do that. And most men aren't fucking men.
No, I need to wake up with self-respect. I got a flight to catch in like 5 minutes. So just real quick before I take off, you guys can keep going after. No, I just think it's important in America. One, we got to respect each other, but also we should have our own spaces. Like, I don't know, I know this guy Arvo, he's a white nationalist. He wants to build white-only land, but he doesn't he's not pushing hatred. He's being sued by telling them they can't have it. You should be able to have, large chunks of land for black people only. Native Americans have it. I think we also should have cities where we're intermixed. It should be optional. People should be able to take land, if they want to make like Dearborn a good example, they want to be Muslims. So why they have these guys, a lot of these guys are actually Jews pretending to be like Christians running in there burning Korans. It's like, why can't they have their own? There's nothing wrong by having mixed areas. And hey, if we want this county to be all black, all white, that should be an option. If it's a free country, why shouldn't we have that option?
Yeah, this is freedom of association.
I don't know if you guys agree on this.
100%. Freedom of association is super important. It's kind of interwoven into the fabric of American society, where the people who want to intermingle, they want to, dabble in other cultures, etc. Some people are gonna take, interracial marriages and interracial children, etc. The vast majority of all people love their own. They want to maintain that identity. They want their children to look like them, and they don't want the intermixing. So they should have the right to isolate themselves. And if you look at white nationalists and black nationalists in the 1960s, or even before that, where Marcus Garvey tried to reach out to the KKK, he didn't realize the KKK was already cucked to organize Jewry. So, and then you had Commander Rockwell and Malcolm X come together on the same subject. They didn't want black and white mixing together, but they respected.
Dangerous, man. Rockwell and
they
Malcolm,
both got assassinated within the same 2-year period.
Yeah.
So I think it was the same year, actually. You would know. So this is an important concept, because we all have that right to exist. We all have that right to procreate with our own, or however we want to do it.
It's not wrong to want your children to look like you. If people want otherwise, that's not wrong either. But they call you racist if you're like, you want my kids to look like me. That's called racist. People saying it forever. Muhammad Ali, But when white people say it like you're a racist, it's just like, oh, you should have the right. If you want to mix, I'm okay with that too.
And look at Muhammad Ali. Who was Muhammad Ali mentored by? Who did Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, have chosen to mentor Muhammad Ali? Malcolm.
Oh, really?
Malcolm. Malcolm.
Well, on the note of Malcolm X, rahmatullah alayh, a lot of people don't know that Malcolm, he actually made his trip to Mecca. He made Hajj as a result of his meeting with the great Iraqi-American revolutionary, Muhammad Taqi Mahdi. And Muhammad Taqi Mahdi was a Shia. And he organized the entire trip. And a lot of the incendiary things that Malcolm had been saying about white folks, about light-skinned Arabs,
all changed.
Right?
Then they shot him.
This light-skinned Arab Iraqi man, this Iraqi Shia, he guided who Malcolm would of course become Sunni, but he would guide Malcolm to the holy city, and it changed everything forever. Cooperative nationalism.
And I want to say, Malcolm at that time was the most dangerous man to the fucking Jews.
He was
a black man who fucking stood up and said shit.
Starting to notice a lot of the pattern.
And what a lot of these liberal academics have done, both Jews and Shabbos Goy that cooperate with the Yahud, is they present a lot of the views of Malcolm when it comes to white supremacy and a lot of the things the black folks went through at the hands of this quote-unquote white system. But in reality, Malcolm was nailing the Jews, speaking about how the Jews controlled liquor stores and the flow of money,
prostitution
in the black community. And so many of his sayings, speeches, words, essays on the topic of the Jews gone down the memory hole.
Yeah, I remember him saying things. He's like, "Oh, I criticize the white man, but criticize the Jew. That doesn't get aired."
Not only that, he got pulled over one time, and he just picked up on it. This is 1960s. You know, this is before the nuance.
I don't know this.
This is in his autobiography.
This is in his autobiography.
He
got pulled over. He got pulled over by a cop in his car. And
it was a Fed. It was a Fed, actually.
It was okay.
A Fed. He was because he was being surveilled. Malcolm was being surveilled constantly, not only by the FBI,
CIA,
not just that either, but the ADL.
Yeah,
right.
God damn.
Look at Brother Ayo.
I didn't know that one.
How about that?
Right, I didn't know the ADL.
He got pulled over.
In 1960s, he already knew that there's this distinction to be made between liberal whites, because one of the things he noticed is, why are these liberal whites trying to be involved with this black power movement? What the hell's going on? And then once he started talking and looking at him, he's like, wait a second, a lot of these people are Jews.
Exactly.
And if you know, right around that same time, if you look at the NAACP or the, what's the other one? Urban League.
They play every side, man.
The Jews are the ones who created these organizations to control.
Unfortunately, I got to bounce. You guys stick around. I wish I could stick around. This is put together.
Thank you for having
us.
This is put together last minute. Yeah, I'll tell them. You guys will stick around.
Don't beat nobody up.
I left something for you.
God bless you. Thank you, my brother. God bless you.
Don't be a white thug.
I hate leaving, but I got to catch the airport.
No white thugging on the plane.
No white thugging.
No white thugging on the plane.
Thank you for stopping for beating that guy up.
God bless.
I did see him today, though. I thought about saying something.
Why don't you move?
I will. I'll shift over just a second.
Take care, my brother. God bless you, Jake.
God bless you, Jake.
See him on Allah.
Big warrior for God. So God bless him. I'm really glad that he's doing what he's doing. But just to get back to the Malcolm point. So Malcolm,
may I just suggest one thing? Maybe
I'm going to. Let me do this first. Malcolm said at the time he got pulled over, he said he looked at the guy, and just from his mannerisms, the way he was communicating, maybe some physiognomy, he said, "Are you a Jew with an anglicized name?" Now you think in 1960s,
Malcolm said that.
Malcolm said this
again in the autobiography.
right? If you look at,
I've done some similar shit, by the way, but nonetheless,
this is the 1960s. There's no internet. How does he know this? And this is why I always bring it back to the spiritual component, this instinctual understanding of what's going on. And then once you tie yourself to that divine spirit, all these things move in your favor. So I just wanted to make that point.
On that point, I wanted to make a point. And then I'm not trying to hog a mic, but I do want to say this because we're talking about Brother Malcolm. It's important to remember, Brother Malcolm, in his youngest age, when he was a little boy, his father was a Garveyite. Baba Garvey said, this is one of the things Garvey taught. He said, in one of his books, the book where he was training people how to organize, he said, never trust the Jew. He said, because he said they would exploit you. And he said, anything you can get from them, get it, because that's what they would do to you. So he grew up as a Garveyite and later in life picked up those same pro-black tendencies, even though it was through the Nation of Islam. So I'm saying it to say, from the black perspective, we've always the best of our educators, the most brilliant of our people, leaders, from Baba Garvey to Brother Malcolm to Carlos Cooks to Baba Kwame Ture to Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. The best of ours have always known and figured out at some point in their life that Jews were a problem and then addressed it. They didn't run from it. They ran straight into it. So I just wanted to add that piece.
And speaking of Marcus Garvey on that subject as well, is that he was arguably the greatest black leader of the last 150 years in the Western nations. And in fact, I mean, I don't know how you would put it into modern day terms in terms of the financial kind of whirlwind around him, but it was definitely into the hundreds of millions of dollars in today's money. And he had organized black folks to do for self, to build their own communities. And guess who kicked him out of the country and used tax evasion? Was it Julian Mack? And who else?
We also,
mail fraud. They call it mail fraud, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Mail fraud tax.
And of course, central figure at the NAACP, Joel Spingarn.
Spingarn, that's right. So, and this is important for everyone to understand. So if it's a white leader doing for self and recognizing who's standing in his way every single time.
Henry Ford.
Right, Henry Ford. So many white leaders. You look across the world, you know, Corneliu Codreanu, right?
Yep,
I mean,
Romania.
And you know, he made a great point in his book, Strictly for My Legionnaires, I think it was, where he said, you know, he said that the Jews take advantage. They live in the swamps of our sins, and this is an important point because
nations get the Jews they deserve.
You look at, we're in Sin City. You look at pornography. You look at gambling. You look at prostitution, you look at child sex trafficking,
feminism,
you look at feminism. So all these societal ills that have clearly had an insidious and pernicious effect on human societies at large, Western nations currently, they seem to be at the root of it. And when we say they, you know, we can name the individuals. We don't have to collectively blame, you know, Shlomo the butcher down the street. We're talking about specific individuals who have organized in this fashion. And if we let go of all of these horrifying things that are harmful to ourselves and to others, they cannot corrupt. And that's why they have control over all these Western nations and their politicians, because those people are engaged in dastardly evil deeds in darkness. And because of that, they are blackmailed and then they sell us all out.
Point. There we go.
What's the guy's name in Poland? Braun. So you got a guy now.
Gregor's Braun.
Gregor's Braun. The only thing I'm saying is because you were talking about past people, and I'm saying there are some people now that are fighting though too. Georgescu in Romania, who was supposed to be the president there, he's came out and spoke out about the pedophilia and stuff like that. There are people that are fighting now. Who are some of the other people that are fighting?
Malaysia. The brother Ken lives in Malaysia. Mahathir Mohamad, who's over 100 years old, still sharp as a tack. He said, I think in the 2000s, early 2000s, he said at the UN, you know, the Jews run the world by proxy. They have others fight and die for them.
Yeah.
And you had a great tagline that you said, and I want to get into the political stuff in just a second, but you had a great tagline about Gentiles and Jews as far as wars go. What was that exactly? Recently, you had mentioned that, you know, one of the political platforms that everybody that's fighting them should have is, I think it was no Gentile.
Yeah. that we should take a oath. I will not kill any Gentile on behalf of Jewish interests.
Say it again.
I. Every person should say I. And that means I don't care if you're in the military. I don't care if you an everyday person. I don't care where you are internationally in this world. You should say, I will not kill any Gentile, which means non-Jew, on behalf of Jewish interests. Because if we actually made that decree internationally, it would shut down the mass genocide of the whole planet, and we would all see them, because they can't exist without us fighting and killing each other.
I would only just qualify that by saying, which is anyway sort of what I'm committed to anyway with my oath, which is if the Jewish interests are telling us to kill this Gentile Goyim, yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. That's not a reason to kill a Gentile. However, if that Gentile within our Gentile courts and law shows that they've done something that is legit capital crime, then yes, then we will kill them. They deserve to be killed. There needs to be justice on this earth, not just godly justice. But your point is well acknowledged. I just wanted to make that little clarification. If you are a Gentile or a Goy and you commit the worst of crimes, pedophilia, whatever, you need to die, motherfucker.
That's on behalf of our interests, not Jewish interests.
Yes, yes.
And one of the key distinguishing features of righteous Gentile society is that we hold our own accountable.
Yes.
We have high standards. In fact, I mean, me and Jonathan talk about this all the time. I mean, we are not at the current state to have power and authority over global Jewry, but we do need to hold our own to account. And as Muslims, we have a higher standard. We believe that we have a higher standard and a higher code that we have to follow. And so when a Muslim falls short of that code, they need to be held to account because, again, they live in the swamps of our sins. And so these parasites amongst our own who, do different things for their interests against our interests, without holding them accountable, we can never get to the higher big boss that, we ultimately want to topple.
Without question. And I think that the biggest and most despicable example of that within the last 2 years is that what's today? Today's the 22nd, the anniversary of JFK's assassination. Okay, so 3 days ago, it marked the 2-year anniversary of Ansar Allah in Yemen hitting their first ship. That's why I rocked the hat today with the anchor.
Did they time that? Really?
Aid in Global Resistance News, which was the news channel that I used to run before it was banned, essentially because of the ADL.
Which was founded because Leo Frank, who was a rapist, murderer, who murdered child rapist, pedophile, who murdered Mary Fagan, was being held accountable by the most racist white society that's existed in this, in America. People say it's America.
Little girl.
It's racist America today. Well, how much more racist was it in the early 1900s? But they held him accountable despite the fact that he tried to blame a black man, a black janitor, for what he did. And because he got held accountable by white society, who ultimately, I think they pulled him out of prison or something like that, or he was about to be let go, and they just said, hell no. And they took care of it. After that, they posthumously tried to get his name cleaned up, and the ADL was established to prevent awareness on this tendency within the tribe.
His brother Ayo wrote in Jews Are the Problem. Everybody copped the book. Again, Jews Are the Problem. The only righteous lynching in American history. But back to your point, Achi, about holding our own accountable. On November 19th of 2023, what we call Eid al-Mursa, or the celebration of the anchor, Ansar Allah,
Yemen.
the Yemeni Islamic resistance, they anchored an Israeli ship. It was the first one that they hit. And that set off a chain of events that saw Ansar Allah hitting, capturing, and sinking over 200 Israeli ships and sending shipping costs through the absolute roof.
Was that this year?
2023. And they only just stopped because of this poor excuse for a ceasefire that's recently been implemented. But I say all that because once that ship was hit, and Ansar Allah, they continued to escalate. They started hitting the usurping entity with drones. Then they started hitting the ships. Then they started firing hypersonic missiles into Tel Aviv and occupied Al-Quds and other places in the occupied West Bank. Specifically, they were hitting Ben Gurion Airport, which is built on stolen land and occupied Lid. And Sayyid Muhammad Ali al-Houthi, one of the chief commanders of Ansar Allah, he said to the Khaliji tyrants, the tyrants of the Gulf, he said, all we're asking you to do, just open the door. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to commit one single dollar, not one single soldier, not one single piece of military equipment. Just open up the gates and let us through. And they didn't do it. Not only did they not do it, they opened up what we now know was a land bridge. It was called the One Israel Project. So as Ansar Allah was blockading Zionist ships to prevent them from making any money that will contribute to the Goya side in Palestine, it was these Khaliji tyrants, these quote-unquote Arabs, these quote-unquote Muslims that opened up this land bridge that allowed goods, food, and arms to flow into the Tumas coffers, which they then used, of course, to continue the Goya side in Gaza. If you didn't have Jordan, and you didn't have Turkey, Egypt, and you didn't have the Khanazir in the West Bank, the quote-unquote Palestinian Authority, you didn't have Egypt, you didn't have the tyrants in the Gulf, you didn't have the filthy regime of Azerbaijan sending oil to Turkey, which was then sent to the Tuma.
And they created, don't they do their shoes and their... physical outfits.
Turks, yeah. The Turkish Zog is arguably the worst one. They're even providing electricity to the usurping Zionist
And
entity.
that goes back to the so-called Ottoman Empire, which exterminated Christians. And also, it's worth pointing out, in Islamic episcatology, the fire in Yemen. The fire in Yemen. Here you have it. Here you have it. Of all the people in the world that could exercise some humanity and some sort of sense of justice, it's Yemen, a genocided people financed to be genocided by America through the crypto Saudi regime, genociding the Yemeni people. And these people who we would call terrorists, once again, are the ones who are the only ones who have humanity and are doing anything that could be any way considered honorable. Meanwhile, we got a president who's covering for fucking genocide and also the Epstein files and the rape of children. It is such an inverted world. It is stunning. Stunning.
Well, on that note, with regard to Yemen, because it didn't just begin there, and I think that speaks greatly to what Brother Ayo was talking about regarding men standing up and the idea of cooperative nationalism in general, is that what happened in Yemen, it didn't just begin with Saudi's Goyicidal attack on Yemen. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, very quickly.
Terminology is important.
Terminology is very important because language is war. The Jews control language. Yeah. So we have to upset that. Genocide, I don't personally use the term because the term genocide was coined by a vile Jew by the name of Raphael Lemkin. And Raphael Lemkin coined...
For the whole shit, isn't it?
No,
it was before that, was it?
He actually coined the term for the Armenian Goyicide. And this was very deceptive in and of itself because the Armenian Goyicide was led by the Yahud. And again, this is another topic for another time, but everybody look up Emanuel Carasso. Emanuel Carasso was the leader of the Young Turks, and he was a vile Jew. A vile Jew. And most of the other so-called Gentiles that you saw around the Young Turks, they were also 33rd degree Freemasons. So wherever you looked in the Armenian Goyicide, you'll find the Yahud. But going back to Yemen, even before Saudi Arabia's attack, even before that, Yemen was on deck to be Balkanized as per the plan of Oded Yinon, whose document, A Strategy for Israel in the 1980s, he was a foreign policy advisor to Ariel Sharon. May Allah curse them both. And they wanted to divide Yemen on tribal sectarian lines.
Balkanization.
Because unlike a lot of other places within the Arab world, within the Islamicate, Yemen, there is a homogeneity there. But instead, your differences, your diversity is tribal, and then the Islamic schools of thoughts, Zaydi, Shia, and Shafi, Sunnis. And this plan was accelerated in the high gear by the American ambassador to Yemen, who the Lebanese news agency Al Akhbar declared the real president of Yemen. And his name, not Norwegian, not Namibian, not Brazilian, believe it or not Icelandic. No, he was a Gerald M. Firestein. And Gerald M. Firestein crafted this plot to balkanize Yemen through the Arab Spring. But what he didn't realize is that Ansar Allah, the Yemeni Islamic resistance led by Sayyid Abdul Malik al-Houthi, may Allah protect him, they had already had a plan in place that the next time that there was any kind of upheaval in the country, they would make their move. They would stand up. Because they already knew. They had already been through 6 wars of extermination at the hands of the tyrant Ali Abdullah Saleh and various American regimes. So they said, the chains are here. We can either die in them or we can die breaking them. And they decided to break them. And slowly but surely in 2014, Ansar Allah moved down from the highlands of northern Yemen into the capital. And they achieved the Yemeni Islamic Revolution on September 21st of 2014. To me, that's the most pivotal moment of the last 50 years other than the Islamic Revolution in Iran. Because it set the world on a new path. It let everyone know that you don't have to be a vassal of America. And even if you do shake off the chains, you don't need to be a vassal to the Jews either. And if we're talking about people who have been naming the Jew and fighting back against this global system of what we would call taghut, of just the utmost godless tyranny, no one has done that like Yemen. And Sayyid Abdul Malik al-Houthi has spent the last 2 years all but screaming at the top of his lungs that the number one enemy of Islam and all of humanity is the Jew. Read the Quran, and you will end up knowing that this is your enemy and this is who you need to fight.
Can I say something? Because honestly, if there's so much information, and I really encourage people who will watch this to get deeper and listen to what Brother Jonathan is saying there, and also Ayo and also Khanverse over here. But in terms of the current day, one thing I know for sure is there is an active agenda to push us Muslims and Christians into a fight against each other. Now, we comprise 4 billion plus of the human population. And I think if we were to achieve anything out of this conversation, it would be an understanding of why that would be not only very stupid, but it would be very self-destructive. And do we really, as Christians and Muslims, have a big beef? I think we're hearkening back to what we hit on earlier. We have some differences. We can deal with that down the road. We can deal with these differences. But if we look at them fairly and objectively, should we really fight each other over this when we've got this real problem? As Ayo has said, Jews are the problem. Why would we be played like chumps like that? Are we really going to be played? And I call on all my American brothers and sisters, and also all Westerners and all white folk. Do you really want to be a cuck fucking little bitch for the state and be played to fight the enemy who's not really your enemy? Meanwhile, your real oppressor, your real enslaver is sitting there laughing at you because you're a chump if you do.
I want to, Bill, because you just said something. I think it's perfect to what he just said, and it's going to lever me back to what we talked about language. But you just said something that's critical. You said, why would Christians and Muslims fight? If you ask not what they disagree about, but what do they agree on? There's one figure that they both love. Both the Christian and the Muslim love this one person named Jesus. Well, why is that relevant to our conversation? Who's the one group, out of all the groups of people on the planet Earth, what's the single group that he didn't like? Now, I'm not talking about what I said. Now, anybody out there want to argue, if you believe in faith, if you believe in either Christianity or Islam, Jesus, the prophet or the Son of God, God in the flesh, whichever you believe him to be, he said they were, I know the blasphemy. I mean, they lied. They curse God of them which say they are Jews, but are not. They are the synagogue of Satan. What that mean? The church of Satan. Where do those go when they want to worship and practice Satanism? They go to the synagogue. Now, that's not me. I'm saying, my arm's not long enough to box with Jesus. So I'm going to let y'all take that fight. But then he goes further and he tells us, it's not just that. He says, who are they? When he's talking to them directly. And again, this is Jesus, not me. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or a Muslim. How can you fight? Because Jesus said, you are of your father, the devil. So he's saying the children of Satan are the Jews. He's saying that to their face. So if you're Muslim, you can't, unless you can argue with Jesus. If you're Christian, you can't argue with God. So you're not arguing with us. If you're sitting out there saying what they're saying is hateful, you're saying Jesus is hateful. So then that means you hate Jesus. I don't have anything to do with that. That's between you and Jesus. But if we're saying what he said, he was harder than us. He said it to their face in the fight. So I think we should all consider that. And then I want to pivot on to something he said because I think it was critical.
And this is, Revelations 2:9, Revelations 3:9. There's a lot of verses in the Quran that support this as well. Obviously, there's nuanced differences between our perception of Jesus, but we all love him as Muslims, and Christians obviously love him as their Savior and the Son of God. And I think
notwithstanding the Christian Zionists who are not real Christians, but yes.
Correct. And that's because of the Schofield Bible and so many other perversions that have entered modern churchianity because, again, there's this commodification of religion that's happening. And, people like Joel Osteen. Mm-hmm. Joel Osteen, spelled Steen instead of Stein. I think he was born ethnically.
He's a year.
So this is an important point because who's always creating? Jake, before he left, he brought up what happened in Dearborn recently where this individual went in there provocateur and pretended to be a Christian. Now, why would you pretend to be a Christian, right? Because it's not natural for a Christian to go and create these provocations. And whenever it happens, there's a reason. And what you've noticed on social media is as people have woken up and became namers and noticers and aware of this issue that we have with the tribe at large, they have been fostering this battle that they have, been brewing for generations, for centuries, between Christians and Muslims so they can grind each other into dust. And Albert Pike talked about this where Christian Zionism and Islam would end up basically destroying each other in the Third World
Morals
War.
and dogma and all the things that Albert Pike said that have come to be true, including that which is not quite there yet, but World War III.
And let me take that. I want to go right back to the word. He gave a verse. Because I want people to walk away. Every religious person out there, I need you to hear it. If you're a Christian or Muslim, you got to hear this, particularly Christian. John 8:44. I want you to hear his word because it goes to everything we've been saying here. And you're asking yourself the question, why are they doing this to the Palestinians? Why are they doing this in Sudan? Why are they doing it everywhere they're doing it around the world? What did Jesus say? Now, these his words is a quote. You are of your father, the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. Talking to the Jews. He said he was a murderer from the beginning. I say, stop for a minute. Again, it's not us. You say you're a believer. Jesus told us that the Jews were murderers from the beginning and abode not in the truth, for there is no truth in you. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. He's a liar and the father of it. So what? They're going to kill and lie. And everything we've seen that they've been doing, according to Jesus, he was telling the truth because everything they said they're doing. So we should not be surprised. Now going to language, he said something about genocide. And it goes right to what Jesus said. Wait a minute. I like what you said. I want everybody to consider this. Let's think about this. Out of every religion, what's the only religion that the actual religion is genocide? I want everybody to think about it for a second. Any Jew you talk to, wait a minute.
High holidays.
Any Jew you talk to, wait a minute. I mean, even it doesn't matter if it's Torah or Talmud. What is their story? At the end, everybody's going to get exterminated. And the only people going to be left is the Jews. And then if you go to the Talmud, each one of them is going to have 2,800 slaves.
I'm coming
apiece,
right back.
All right. So each one of them is going to have 2,800 slaves apiece, right? So what does that mean? Wait a minute. What is Judaism? I'm going to say it again. This is not us saying it.
No.
Every Jew tells you everybody's going to be wiped out. So this is what happens. We got it reversed. We say, oh, that's a genocidal religion. No. We got it wrong. Genocide is only a description of Judaism as applied to a particular different group. Because Judaism says everybody that is not Jew is going to get exterminated. That's the actual beginning of it. But if you want to take it and apply it, well, you're going to kill Christians, or you're going to kill black, or you have to have a word because it's not Judaism killing everybody at once. You put it into one place. So now we call it genocide. Genocide is a description of Judaism as applied to a particular group. Judaism is the platform and the foundation for the concept of complete eradication and genocide of people on planet Earth.
So that dovetails us into one of the subjects that I wanted to get into. So first of all, in terms of the high holidays, I would like for you to address some of the high holidays and their backdrop and, like the ears of Haman and so many others and all the different ones that you do know of and their historical kind of, the spot in history that they are commemorating. And we can then get into roots of Satanism within modern Pharisaic Judaism?
Inshallah. Well, let's do the three big ones, right? You got Purim, Passover, and Hanukkah. Well, Purim, every year, the Jews celebrate the mass extermination of 75,000 Persians. But the reason why that Purim is arguably more important is because Haman, who's the central villain of this story, and the Amalekites that descend from him, i.e. Amalek, they have superimposed that on the whole of Gentiledom. Anybody now who opposes them, they have selected this particular holiday. I was just telling Brother Ayo this a couple hours ago. Iraq, March 20th, 2003, invaded on Purim. Libya, same date, 2011. What did Gaddafi want to do? Gaddafi wanted to create an oil-backed currency, not just for Libya, but for the whole of Africa. Literally take the entire continent off of the Judeo-Franco-colonial system. Purim, they invaded. And say the same thing about what Brother Ayo calls, correct me if I'm wrong, the bioweapon injection war of COVID. COVID began on Purim.
Didn't know that either.
Shout out to my dear brother, Lieutenant PKP, a.k.a. the Pakistani Kashmiri Zorro with the triple blade, over at GRN, for picking that one up. All my GRN fam. Sheikh Muzaffar Haidar, salam. COVID, Purim. Even Yugoslavia, the architect of the war in Yugoslavia, so much time is spent, right? So much time is spent on NATO and the imperialist element of it, and NATO attempting to corner Russia. But who was the architect of that war? Madeleine Albright.
500,000 dead children, quote, worth it.
That's right.
There we go.
So Purim is central to Jewish ideology, Jewish theology, and how Jews interface and interact with the rest of the entire world. All right? Now, let's go to Passover. What is Passover? It celebrates the slaughter of Egyptians, but not just Egyptians. Egyptian babies, the murder of Egyptian firstborns, and this is celebrated by Jewish communities all over the planet. Now you wonder why they not only don't feel anything when they murder children, they take pleasure from it. There's glee in it, a foundational, visceral glee. All right, now, Passover, right? Purim, right? Now Hanukkah, which everybody thinks. How often have you heard? It's the Jewish Christmas, right? They light up the pretty menorah with the candles.
Never mind the fact that December 25th has nothing to do with the birth of Jesus or any of that. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, Hanukkah celebrates the extermination of the Greeks by the Maccabees. But wait, this is the caveat.
But wait, there's more.
It's true. Cue the meme. Right? It wasn't just the slaughter of Greeks, but it was the slaughter of Hellenized Jews. So these Jews that wanted to get out of what came to be known as the shtetl many years later, they wanted to get out of the yeshiva. They Hellenized. They became.
What does that mean? Out of the yeshiva? Out of
the Jew.
Okay,
seminary. Out of the Jewish seminary, right? They were done. They didn't want to be Jews no more. Okay. They didn't want to study Torah. They didn't want to study Talmud. They wanted to be Gentiles.
Human.
They wanted to be human.
Yeah, like literally.
The Jews wanted to be human. They didn't want to be devils anymore. And what did the Maccabees do? They slaughtered them too. They slaughtered the Hellenized Jews on top of it. And this became a cornerstone within, again, Jewish theology and Jewish sociology.
So Hanukkah is about killing Jews that don't want to be bad Jews.
That don't want to be Jews, period, my brother. Leaving Judaism entirely.
That's what the celebration of Hanukkah is.
Absolutely.
Killing Jews that don't want to be Jews no more.
And the Greeks that they wanted to emulate.
And that ties into, if you were going to say, because this brother over here, Converse, wrote about the quote-unquote good Jew. That's the good Jew. And I do know a couple of them. They totally renounce, like Mordecai Vanunu, someone I have met.
Bobby Fischer.
Bobby Fischer. The good Jew is the one who renounces Judaism, but even that begs, if you were going to get really clinical with truth and really, really, really deep down, an actual Jew would be somebody who was handed the word of God through the prophets, and only thing that would be required to be an actual Jew would be to follow the word of God as given to the prophets. But that is exactly what most know to be Jews today. Those who have actually rejected the word of God, which would disqualify them from being actual Jews in the first place. So it's a little bit tricky. If we're going to be exact, I don't actually have a problem with a proper Jew if you are abiding by the word of God. But you're not.
Word of God.
You're not. You've rejected the word of God. You have gone the antithesis of the word of God. You are exactly what Jesus referred to when he said, those who say they are Jews, but they are not. They are the synagogue of Satan. So this is a really important point that not a whole lot of people are talking about. If you are an actual real Jew, love and respect, my brother, you're following the word of God, but you're not. You are what Jesus referred to.
This is a perfect dovetail point, because this is a subject I wanted to get into, is Satanism within modern Pharisaic, Talmudic, rabbinical Judaism. And Brother Jonathan Azaziah has done an incredible job, written multiple pieces on this subject, quoting accurately from the Babylonian and the Jerusalem Talmud. And I would like for him to give us some of the more heinous passages on this particular matter and the background, so people can quite understand that they do not belong.
The word of God.
Correct.
God did not send this word down.
It is the word of the rabbis who think of themselves collectively as bigger and better than God, including rabbis that have supposedly defeated God in a debate. I want Jonathan to get into this subject and break this down so people don't think that most of the modern Jews follow an Abrahamic code of existence that we all can agree on about, simple things like thou shalt not kill. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And I'm pulling up the article directly as per Brother Khanverse's direction and request, just so we have everything on point. And everybody out there watching, you can check all of it yourself. I think a very key point, Achi KV, before we do get into it, is that people have to know there are a lot of fake passages from the Talmud and the Kabbalah out there. There are even passages from certain demonic rabbis like Rashi and Maimonides, who's also known as the Rambam. May Allah curse them both. They're floating out there, and people, they misconstrue their writings for the Talmud. And what the Talmud is, what the Torah is, what the law is a discussion in and of itself. But be very, very careful what you're reading, what you're sharing, and what you're spreading. You can go directly to the source and know what it is absolutely without question. This is what the Jews are reading, and they don't want Gentiles reading what they're reading. Mm-hmm. All right. So the name of this piece, which we at GRN, which again was banned at World Jewish request and behest, roughly 2 months ago. It's called Out of the Frying Pan into the Tractate. Judaism is Din al-Shaitan, meaning the religion of Satan, and Ahlul Shayatin, meaning the people of the devils. So we start with Mila 17b-5. And this talks about a rabbi by the name of Shimon bar Yochai. And Yochai is very important, because he is the one who said, kill the best of the Gentiles. So going back to what Brother Ayo noted, how each and every one of their celebrations, we didn't get to that because there were some interjections from the brothers. But another holiday of the Jews, Lag BaOmer, everybody look this up, and it's especially relevant over the last 2 years of the Goyicide in Gaza, that on this holiday, the Jews honor Shimon Bar Yochai. So before you let any Jew tell you, that's just the opinion of one rabbi, Jews don't agree with that, they're lying. They celebrate him yearly. And what they do when they celebrate him is that they burn Gentiles alive, specifically children. So in Mila 17b5, we are told that Shimon Bar Yochai, he makes a deal with a demon named Ben Tamalion. So this is a rabbi that the Jews celebrate yearly, who has offered up a foundational philosophical point to their entire Weltanschauung, or their worldview. Kill the best of Gentiles. He made a deal with a demon. Maybe that's where he got the idea from. Berachot 6a5 reveals that demons are extra present at crowded Torah gatherings. Now, if this was the word of God, what are demons doing around Jews as they read the Torah? In the subsequent passage, Berachot 6a6, it says, if you want to see demons, burn the placenta of a female black cat and rub the ashes in your eyes. Everybody hold on. It's going to get worse, I promise you. Like a lot worse. You thought Brother Ayo's story was bad with the white dogs? This is a lot worse than that. Sanhedrin 91a16 slanders Prophet Ibrahim, or as the Jews call him, Avraham, as a warlock. Now I look around this table. We're just regular dudes. Ain't nobody engaging in witchcraft here. But supposedly, Nabi Ibrahim, the father of the Israelites and the Arabs, engaged in witchcraft. And it says that he gifted his sons the supernatural spirit of impurity, which enabled them to do witchcraft. And then it follows up, Sanhedrin 101a8, that permits consultation with oil demons and egg demons, whatever the hell those are. Bava Batra 134a7 confirms that rabbis didn't neglect conversations with demons on esoteric matters. Chulin 105b19 says that Rav Papa, may Allah curse him, kept a very obedient demon as a house servant. Eruvin 43a18 solidifies a creature named, quote, Yosef the demon as an authority to learn the mysteries of miraculous travel from. And one of the prophets who allegedly did this was Prophet Elias. So again, you see a pattern of the Jews slandering the prophets they claim they love as masters of witchcraft, of practitioners of devilry. Sanhedrin 17a21 said, this is very, very important. Very important. Sanhedrin 17a21. To make it into the great Sanhedrin, which obviously was the authority that condemned...
The rabbinical council.
The rabbinical council that condemned Isa alayhi salatu wasalam to death, and which has been resurrected today in the usurping Jewish entity. A rabbi had to be a master of sorcery so he could judge other sorcerers. In other words, you could not get onto the great Sanhedrin if you were not a black magic practitioner. This also is important. Death curses. Death curses. Moed Katan 17b1 details the famed Pulsa Denora. A lot of people may know this because this is what the opposition to the war criminal and the breaker of Palestinian children's bones, Yitzhak Rabin, the rabbinate, they placed this curse, the Pulsa Denora, on him before he was executed in a Shin Bet plot. once again showing that no different than October 7th with the Hannibal Directive, the Israelis, the Yehud, don't have a problem dumping their own if it'll suit their agenda. Berachot 58b5, it instructs Jews to curse the graves of Gentiles whenever they pass them and their mothers. Shabbat 75a3 shows the rabbis circumventing commandments from God so they can learn and teach sorcery.
No, I wasn't finished. Now you going. Cook.
Oh, all right.
No, I'm liking it. I just want to know. Yeah, cook.
All right, I'm cooking.
Are you good?
All right. Sanhedrin 65b, 17 through 19, it reveals rabbis creating golems. Forgive me for this, it's disgusting. After performing sorcery, which features the application of 7 types of semen to the eyes. You heard that right, and you can read it yourself. And I close the first part of this piece. Everyone can go read the second and third parts of the pieces themselves. Just put in the title of the piece. I'm sure it's still floating around Telegram somewhere. And Brother Khanverse has posted it on X as well, if I remember correctly. So you can find it. Sanhedrin 78A12, performed by the Persian Jew, the rabbi, Abba ben Yosef bar Hama, a.k.a. the Rava, says, again, forgive me, it's despicable, sodomizing a corpse is okay because the depraved act makes it like the corpse is alive, experiencing pleasure.
Wow.
Let me just say something real quick. If you take all that, wrap it up, which I'm glad you said it because I got to process.
And again, that's just the first part.
All right.
I'm just traumatized from hearing it, man. Holy shit.
I want to wrap this. I'm going to make it real simple. John 8:44. Ye are of your father, the devil.
Who can dispute it?
And the lusts of your father, raping corpses, ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. He is a liar and the father of it. Everything that Jesus said, whether you believe it or not, and whatever you think, everything he said is demonstrated by their own words and their own religious belief system.
May I say, just genuinely, with respect, because we've had this studio, God bless everybody responsible for this studio, especially Jake, thanks for Dan. We have literally just over 10 minutes. We got to end in 10 minutes. So I really think it would be good that each one of us maybe get some concluding thoughts. And
well, yeah, so one thing. So first of all, thank you for that, very scholarly dissertation. As hard as it was to listen to, I knew that this was an important point because people have, brought them in as an Abrahamic people of the book type of thing. And, I'm not saying that there aren't any Jews out there, especially ethnic Jews that have that, tendency, but it is a very small minority in the larger landscape. I mean, we have, the descendants of the Frankists and the Sabbateans who engage in far worse things. And, you could have seen an old clip from Oprah that would have told you some of this stuff. I did want to get into 2 things. So, yes, we're going to get to the solutions last. One thing I wanted to talk about is we had Brother Dan and Brother Jake with us earlier, and we have Brother Ayo with us now. And if you guys have been paying attention, MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, recently said that she's going to resign from Congress in January of 2026. Simply because they're obviously trying to push her out, and the Jews backing Trump are the ones obviously behind that. And she wanted to open up the landscape. And Dr. Cynthia McKinney told us that that actually opens up the door. Well, we know for a fact that some of these brothers are planning political, what do you call it? Campaigns. And so I wanted to give Brother Ayo a chance to talk about his campaign and for running for the Senate in Maryland, because historically we've had Paul Findley, we've had Jim Trafficant, Dr. Cynthia McKinney, MTG, and now Thomas Massey. And while I would wish that, most of them outside of Dr. McKinney would have went
James
further.
James
Abu Ribbit. So, Ayo, go ahead. You tell us a little bit about your political campaign, what you're attempting to achieve, where they can go to support and donate to you, and then we will get to our final point about solutions.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. So everybody out there, I'm running for the state senator in Maryland. I'm Ayo Kimathi. You can go to Ayo, A-Y-O, Kimathi, Kimathi, 41.com, because it's the 41st district in Baltimore. Here's the beautiful thing about it. You go to Ayo Kimathi 41.com. You can go there. We ask you to donate. You can hear the message here that's being put here. Yes, I'm going to do the things you're supposed to do as a state senator doing legislation for that community. But more than that, for the people that are tuned into this, the work that we're doing, getting involved in politics, a person like myself, it's about saving the people. And that means everybody out there. So my candidacy, as much as it's for the development and betterment of the 41st District in Maryland, which it is, and for the state of Maryland, it's for the state of life on this planet. We're fighting some very demonistic individuals. And if we don't have people with positions of power, with the state backing what they're doing and driving it, these conversations are great, but we need that engine behind it that take action and it'll fight these demons that are in those positions now and actually represent people. So you can contribute no matter where you are in the country. Go there to Ayo Kimathi 41.com and you can donate, and you can only donate as much as $6,000 to a candidate, but as much as you can, if it's $6 or $6,000, I'd appreciate your support, because that's the last piece that we need in this particular campaign that we're running for this next thing to make it happen.
And quickly tell them who your opponent is, give them a quick synopsis of that, and then immediately transition to your solution to all the issues that we brought up today.
Okay, Dahlia Attar is a Orthodox Jewish woman. Make it simple. She's right now under, she's been arrested and she's been arraigned, and they've accused her of taping people having sex. Somebody in her group, a former employee, having
Totally not at all.
Yeah, it's not Jeffrey Epstein at all, right?
Not at all.
But matter of fact, her brother, they're accusing her brother, who's Jewish, and the police officer, who's Finkelstein. That's not a joke or a disrespect. His actual name is Finkelstein. Police officer of, I believe, taking the fire alarm and putting cameras in, taping her having sex with a married man, and then extorting her, saying, we're going to use this extortion and put it out publicly if you don't stop making criticisms of my candidacy. So that's who I'm running against in a black district. So help support that, and we can make some things happen.
And go ahead with your solutions to all these issues that we've brought up. Whatever you think that people can do now, the ones that are listening to us, the various things that they can do and contribute, et cetera, and then, globally what we can do, and then we'll go around.
You know what? So that I don't take any time and anything like that, I'll make the simplest solution I can give. The simplest solution I can give you, support, just like that. If it's $5, again, if it's $5,000, support my candidacy. Why? You're doing something. Because what you hear here is now going to be in a legislative position with some power, creating legislation that's fighting things that are not just happening in Maryland. Those things are coming in neighborhoods just like yours, and it's going to affect you. I won't let that happen when I'm in a position like that.
Brother Ken.
Well, I'd like to reemphasize what my brother Ayo was saying there, because I don't know. For me, I don't know. I'm very unusual and whatnot, but the whole concept of voting for the lesser of two evils, I've always found, in a word, unacceptable. If you have a candidate who actually has honor and integrity, is answering to a higher power, and ultimately understands that he will be judged, and that judgment will result in a fate that is eternal and quite horrible in one context and quite good in the other, you're blessed if you live in a district where you actually have such a candidate, because the vast majority of districts do not have such a candidate. You have two different devils to vote for. And so I generally don't put any real stock into who you can vote for. In fact, I've never voted in my entire life. I didn't want to justify the system. But Ayo, I know this man. He is an honorable man. He will do exactly what he says. And in the district that he is in, if you don't vote for him, you're a fool. You will get more of the same. Moving into how I feel about the world, I think people are, I know, there is no savior. I love Jesus, and I know he's going to return. I do, and he will come down on the wings of angels in Syria. It will happen, and he will slay the Antichrist. However, I have this theory that God helps those that help themselves, and we have not done what we need to do, especially as men. And if we do, and accelerate what we're capable of doing, we can accelerate the process of the return of Jesus. And if you don't believe in any of that, let me just say, there is no fucking Savior coming to save us. And if he did, if some Savior came and wiped away all that tyranny, that pedophilia, all that treason, all of that shit, what would we do then? We'd piss it away the next day because you didn't earn it. If you really want a better world, then you need to fucking stand up, especially as a man, and be a man. Otherwise, you know what? Go fuck yourself, mate, waiting for someone to come save you. Why? Because you're too much of a coward to do what needs to be done? No. Fuck that shit. I reject that, and that's why I'm happy to die in the battle if the rest of my fellow men want to pretend to be men while they're actually boys. Weak-ass boys doing nothing while the children are being raped. So vote for this man over here. Listen to this man's music over here. And this man who is kind of behind the scenes but has done a great moderating role. Thank you, my brother. Listen to this man too.
God bless you, Ken. Thank you so much. Brother Jonathan, solutions to all the issues that we've brought up and all things that people individually can do to help further our cause of liberating the entire planet from the satanic clutch of organized.
Well, liberation is the word. Tahrir. Tahrir is definitely the word. A decade and change ago, you and I helped found Muqawama Music. And our tagline was liberate the discourse. And our lingo, which then was considered extreme, it was considered off the wall. We were accused of anything and everything you could think of under the sun. And now the whole world talks like Mad Cold and KV. FTJ, DTI, KTKL3Y, which is something we used to say.
Freedom, truth, and justice, and demonstrate through Islam.
I think that shaking off the linguistic shackles that the Jews have imposed on us in terms of the way we talk, how we talk, so-called manners, so-called civility, these are all Judaic terms to pacify Gentiles. Everybody at this point in time, after what's occurred over the last 2 years in Gaza, and as it's spread throughout all of humanity, and it's harkened back to what the Germans suffered in World War II, what the Russian people suffered under the Bolshevik Revolution, what the African people have suffered under the transatlantic slave trade and Reconstruction and Jim Crow, and the Goyicide that's been unfolding in Palestine for the last 80 years. What happened with the flood, it's tied us back to everything. And we now know that Arabs, whites, blacks, reds, yellows, browns, every people under the umbrella that Allah has put over the universe has suffered at the hands of one group of people. And that is the Jews. And if they have, after they have murdered what very well may be 250,000 human beings, nearly half women and children in Gaza, after that, after what they did to Lebanon, and after they even took the life,
they're coming for you too,
of Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, the liberator of Lebanon, rahmatullah alayh. If they could even take him, then you can have no doubt that, as Brother Ken just said, they are going to come for you. We are all on the hit list. And these people are so weak, despite all of their perceived power, despite all of their wealth, and despite all of their perceived influence, they shrink up into a bug that shrivels away when you just name them. So the best way to start for anyone out there, name the J. Find out what the J has done to every group of people, and do whatever you can with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon you to fight back. And if we all do that, then like Imam Khomeini, rahmatullah alayhi, said just about 50 years ago, if every Muslim on planet Earth was to pour a bucket of water on the usurping Zionist entity, we would wash it away. Just swap out Muslim with Gentile, and swap out Israel with world Jew. If every Gentile pours a bucket of water on world Jews, we will wash it away with its tyranny, and then the rest of everything else, we'll figure it out.
One thing, and please close it out, my brother. God bless Palestine, man. God bless Palestine. Fuck you, Israel. You're fucking done, you cunts. Seriously, I love Palestine. I'm blessed to be a Palestinian. The Palestinians are fighting the fight. The rest of us fucking cowards aren't fighting. How dare you call them terrorists? Love and respect Hamas as well.
God bless Palestine. Tahya Palestine. And shout out to Brother Ken, specifically in this case, because he has the key to the city of Gaza given to him by Ismail Haniyeh, who has been martyred last year. First of all, thank you, gentlemen. Jonathan Azaziah, I would argue, I think kind of conclusively, the number one JP researcher on the face of Earth.
Finish the show.
Brother Ken, everybody knows who Ken O'Keefe is. He's been fighting the cause for Gentiles for a very long time. A lot of us drew inspiration in our younger years from him. Brother Ayo Kimathi, definitely support his campaign for the Senate in Maryland. An author, a fearless lecturer who's helped his own people tremendously. All of us respect that. Dan Bilzerian, who was here earlier, who has been fighting and, has taken tremendous losses in his personal life and has done it for the sake of humanity. Brother Jake Shields, again, is the UFC champion fighter who's brought this to a lot of people's attention and has treated us all very warmly with incredible brotherhood. We are tremendously grateful. I'll close it out with my thoughts on this. I've said for a very long time that this is a spiritual battle, a spiritual war, and it will not end until we clean ourselves and tie ourselves to the divine thread that connects us all. And as such, the first thing that I would recommend all of you do, especially those of you who are agnostic and sitting on the fence on this particular subject, reach out to the Creator in your own words and ask Him to get involved in your life, and you will see Him get involved in a very intimate way that only you will understand, because you know the nuances of your life, and He can protect you from every satanic conspiracy that is hatched against you by those who call upon Satan, because Satan is not going to be the ultimate victor in this world. And thus, from that point, you will gain the courage to do things that these brothers here have done that I'm just honored to be a part of. God bless you. God bless the Fight Back podcast, and God bless Gentiledom at large. Peace and love.
Nice.
As many of you know, I have many controversial guests, so that comes at a cost of being demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support the program, go to fightbackpodcast.com, and I have all kinds of merch on there, whether it's jiu-jitsu, fighting, political, and other accessories. And thanks for the support.